Welcome to the Retail Reality Show.
Welcome to another episode of the Retail Reality Show. I have two lovely guests and / co-hosts. With me is my lovely co-host Yael. Hey Yael, how are you doing today?
Nino, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, so pretty nice week in terms of weather. A lot of busy weeks behind me, so it couldn't be better. And how about you?
Yeah, busy weeks behind, but also busy weeks ahead. So, taking time to breathe in between.
Always depends how far you look ahead. So I don't want to look at next week. So I'm enjoying an easier week this week.
Yeah, same here.
Cool. We have a very interesting topic and a very interesting guest today. We have Joel Bar-El in the room today. Welcome, Joel.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
Where do we find you today?
I'm currently at my home in near Tel Aviv in Israel.
Okay. If you are connected to video, if you watch us on YouTube, you can see his background. So it looks like a sunny place, lots of green in the background. So we envy you.
Thank you.
Joel, maybe you want to quickly introduce yourself, where you're coming from, and most importantly, what's your expertise?
Hi. Nice to meet you, and thank you for hosting me. I'm Joel Bar-El. I'm a tech entrepreneur for the last 30 years. Started my career at corporate America, worked for 7 years at a very large MNC in the US, and then started my own companies in diverse disciplines, wealth management, computer vision, and also development language. My last startup was Trax Retail, which became a big unicorn in the retail space, and I guess we are going to talk about some of that experience here as well. Today, I'm a CEO of a company called Xpand, which is also in the retail space, revolutionizing the way shoppers go to do their shopping. So it's another interesting topic.
So, Joel, you apparently you had a life before retail tech. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It seems like I was born there, but no, I had a life before.
And actually, I did a quick research on ChatGPT, and it said you had a background in physics and also education. Is that true?
So I studied physics and astrophysics in university for my first degree. And so that's my background, but very quickly I understood that I don't want to be a physicist. So after university, I somehow stumbled on a software company here in Israel, and this is how my career became software rather than hardware or anything else.
Okay, we always like to start our shows with some ice-breaking questions to make it easy for you to get into it. Even though I know you're a pro, but let's start with that. And you've built Trax from Singapore. So my question is, Israel or Singapore, which one is better?
It's a tough question because both countries have their own merits. I would still vote for Singapore, although Israel has more talent in terms of finding the right employees early on. But Singapore has more access to capital. And I think in the early stages, access to capital is key. And one of the reasons Trax was very successful is because it had a lot of capital in its coffers in order to sustain our initial growth and product development. So I would say Singapore.
And what is your what do you think is the future? Self-scanning robots or self-checkout kiosks?
I think that the self-checkout kiosks cannot be as a standalone. At the end of the day, I think the world goes towards automation and towards better connectivity to the end shopper. And in that sense, shoppers will either have a fully automated experience like Xpand is presenting, or it will have the normal grocery experience that we have today where you go and you select your own items and go through the cash registers. And then you have less automation, but more intimacy with the product you select.
And last but not least, finish this sentence in 1 or 2 words. The future of retail is?
In understanding shoppers in a better way.
Cool.
Very good answer.
Very good, yeah.
Data.
Yes, it's data, but also understanding the data. I think there is no lack of data in the world. You have all the data you want. Understanding what it means, understanding to get the right insights from it, that's a tough challenge.
Yeah, especially there's no lack of data in retail. That's for sure. Okay, so let's switch gear to the more advanced questions. And you've had a front row seat to some of the biggest transformations in retail globally in the last few years. And I'm curious to hear your perspective on what are some of the biggest shifts that you've observed in the last decade.
I think the biggest shift that I saw is the realization of retailers that technology alone cannot be the medicine or the cure for all of their illnesses. At the end of the day, the core retail activities needs to be solved within the retail practices themselves, understanding the power shift between the retail, the manufacturer, and the consumer, and the fact that consumer are gaining more power in terms of their choice, in terms of their ability to select, in terms of their ability to do conscious decisions and make research and understand what they're buying and how they're buying it. And technology alone cannot be, the only remedy. And I think early on you saw a lot of hype in terms of investing in just technologies, but the connectivity of those technologies into the ongoing retail business, as well as the commercial availability and the commercial viability of those products into the ongoing stream of revenues and profits of those retailers is key. So I think that realization came with a big price to some companies. If you look at name names, Bossa Nova Robotics or Trigo, where they had great technologies, but were not matching reality, day-to-day commercial realities of retailers. The cost was too high. Those realizations, were painful, but at the end of the day, retailers understand that they need to match all those facets together in order to have a good solution.
I mean, for those who don't know, Trigo is kind of a Trigo Vision, I think it was called. It's a company which ships in-store platform and sensors, and I think Amazon one of the first stores that was outfitted.
Amazon has their own technology.
Yeah, Amazon had the Amazon Go, which is a competitor for Trigo, but it's the same technology of allowing cashierless experience where you can take things from the shelf and walk out without going through the cash register and payment process.
And Trigo, by the way, still exists. They just pivoted into more loss prevention technology rather than autonomous checkout. Yeah.
And Bossa Nova also exists, as far as I know.
What's the for my own giggles and interest? What's the status of all those manless stores? Like Amazon Go, and I think we saw a few of those.
They're still there. Amazon reduced dramatically the number of stores they were planning to open and also closed some of the stores they already opened. But I think, again, this is a great example for technology. The technology is not ripe yet. It's too expensive. It's not 100% yet foolproof. And in that sense, it just costs too much. And because the technology is not complete enough, they suffer losses from theft and other elements. So it's just not ready yet to meet the commercial realities of retail.
So it will come
by
back.
the way, it's still quite successful in very niche markets. So for small stores that only carry a limited inventory. So for example, for sports events, where in any case you price items, twice as much as outside, because everyone is there for the sports game and they don't mind buying a bottle of water for, I don't know, $5 or something. So it's still working in stadiums, in big events and stuff like that. But if you run a grocery store that has thousands or hundreds of SKUs, and those SKUs are changing, and there are people coming in and out of the store the whole time, the technology is still limited in that sense. And I think that at some point, those technologies were reaching an accuracy rate of around 98%, it sounds huge. But if you think about it, in a grocery store, the average basket is around 50 items, right? So 98% of 50 items, that means that every maybe second purchase will get an error, and that's just not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And also the thin margins, I would say they wouldn't compensate probably for the loss that you incur there.
Exactly.
I agree. Maybe, Joel, a quick question, because we are now talking about physical retail. We did our research in 2020. You said in an article that despite the huge steep growth curve of e-commerce that was kind of predicted in 2020, which was the case, but maybe not as steep as
during the corona.
during COVID. You already said, hey, physical stores are here to stay. Especially in grocery. What's your point of view on this balance, e-commerce versus physical stores, especially in e-commerce grocery today?
Yeah, so I still stand behind that sentence. I don't think it has changed. Maybe the percentage since 2020 of e-commerce versus physical stores has grown towards e-commerce maybe by 2% globally, but it's a very, very slow, growth. Today, most, again, grocery buying patterns all over the world are still in physical stores. Also, the e-commerce delivery itself, when you order online, you're in Germany, consider when you buy online from Lidl or Rewe or any supermarket around the world, your grocery bag that comes to your home is being picked, collected from physical store. Dark stores are not really working, not from a proximity perspective to the city centers where you can have timely delivery, and not from a fresh perspective. Think about a supermarket. You have fruits, you have vegetables, you have dairy, you have perishable items. You need a lot of throughput, a lot of shoppers coming in order to maintain that freshness. In e-commerce, it's until today, they couldn't prove that they can maintain that freshness because there's not enough order volume in order to sustain this type of throughput. And therefore, today, all e-commerce is still relying on physical stores. So whether you look at it from the e-commerce perspective or from a buying patterns perspective, again, physical stores are here to stay, and there will be a shift in the assortment where you have very long shelf life items like, I don't know, soft drinks, flour, hair care, home care. These type of products might go and gain a bigger, e-commerce presence just because you know what you are used to. You don't need to select, you don't need to touch. You know exactly how your cleaning, dishwasher cleaning liquid looks like. But when it comes to fresh, and this is what is holding most of the physical store, friction, those will be staying here, and people are getting more and more conscious to their ability to select, and actually that selection is good, whether through their health, to their life habits, etc. So I don't think this is going away. Sorry.
Okay.
So Joel, today we'd like to hold you up on all of your
past.
All of your past declarations. And
Okay.
we discovered that in 2019 you described the future where stores will be fully digitized spaces with personalized augmented reality experiences. How close are we really to that vision today?
We're still far, again, from technology is not ripe to be there yet. But I think probably 20, 30 years from today, we will still do physical shopping in physical stores, but we will do it from a virtual reality perspective. We will not leave our home. I will still stroll through the aisles of my favorite supermarket. I know where every item is. I can talk to the cash register. I can talk to the shop owner just to ask questions. But it will be all from the comfort of my home. The experience will be exactly the same. I truly believe that will be the future, but it's a distant future. I don't know, for sure not my kids, maybe my grandchildren or their children.
I don't know. For me, it's like either I shop online, in a very fast way. I mean, especially for groceries, I already have my list. I go in the list, I make a few changes and I send it. I don't want the reason I shop online is because I want I want the convenience and the time saving. So if I do a virtual experience session and go talk to the cashiers, it's not really saving me the time. But I don't know what's going to happen in 2 generations.
It's not a question of time, because time is one aspect which you can definitely save when you do online. But there are other aspects for the shopping experience, and the other word to shopping experience is experience. So the experience of seeing what products you are, buying, touching them, the ability to see exactly, to select for the brand you want. Not every product you know exactly what you want. Sometimes you need to select. You see all kinds of advertisements. You see all kinds of promotions. You want to talk to other people. That's another reason why people go to do shopping, maybe to meet a loved one or, looking for a date. So there's other reasons why people go to physical stores. And I believe those reasons will still be valid and can still be met in a virtual environment.
In TV, always when you go to the supermarket or the grocery store, you meet the exact person you want to meet, or it's the one person you never want to
You
see.
don't want to meet, yeah. That's karma.
Yeah.
Exactly. Joel, we talked about disruption and transformation of retail in the past decade. Now let's switch gears a little bit and focus on technology, how technology is particularly impacting retail. And again, I think you once said retail is the last industry in the world that is making a technology leap and that is digitally transforming. Do you think that's still the case? And why do you think retail is so slow?
I think that, as I said before, it's so slow because the reality of retail is a very tough environment. At the end of the day, the most successful retailers across the globe, which is names we all aspire, and look at in admiration, they still make 1% to 2% net margin. It's a very low margin business. And this low margin environment makes it very difficult for them to make investments and to do a real transformational shift, because every transformation required like a slope, like you go down before you go up. And in that sense, it's very hard for retailers to accept that equation because they cannot lose money. And therefore the shift is slow. They're still trying to bet on technologies. And I think technology has made huge transformations in retail. I mean, I don't think you can say that retail today looks like it was 10 years ago. Not in terms of the e-commerce experience, which definitely improved, not in terms of supply chain, pricing, and all the field which is now, I see, rising up of understanding the shoppers. Going into shopper behavior and shopper marketing, and be really understanding better how shoppers are making their decisions and adhering the products to their real needs and their real challenges and real life choices.
Mm-hmm. And when we maybe look at the market today, and particularly because you're a tech entrepreneur, what do you think are the biggest disruption from a tech perspective in retail at the moment? What is shaking retail?
So what I see, I meet many companies. The one area that I see is going to bloom based on the number of startups and interest that I see is the shopper advertisement or retail media. I think there's more and more avenues where retailers and manufacturers can meet the shopper at the point of sale in front of the shelf, whether it's fixed retail media, on the carts itself, through the phone. And there are many avenues and dimensions where shoppers are being engaged, and to make that engagement entertaining, to make it seamless, to make it relevant and bi-directional. That means you don't only project to the consumer, you also get their reaction and their feedback. These are going to, I think, is the next disruption in retail tech.
And just maybe to double click a little bit, because I spent a lot of time recently on retail media. What do you mean with fixed retail media?
That means screens
signage,
that are
digital signage
on the shelf. It's like, digital, not just signage. Signage is one thing, like ESLs and others, but I'm talking about media, that you have like a tablet where it shows commercials and show other things.
Okay. Because I think in the end, retail media is such a good idea, because it should be, in an ideal world, a win-win-win. Like you get a better targeted segment as a CG company. The retailer has a very high margin product, and the consumer hopefully gets a recommendation for a product that matches the shopping history, right?
Exactly. And closing that loop in a way that the shopper will regain benefit, that's the key, and that's kind of the tricky part.
But isn't that, retail media is in the market for quite some years. Looking at Amazon, they do 7-8% of their revenue. Even in Germany, we have lots of big retailers like Rewe, Douglas, who do a lot of retail media. isn't it innovated to the end, or what do you think can be innovated?
No. I can see what people are doing with this tool,
Tell us.
which is amazing. For example, you have a company that is placing retail media on the shopping cart itself. And it can be connected to your phone and to your shopping list and to your loyalty card. So it matches the advertisement and the recommendations to not only your your shopping experience and kind of your shopping habits, but it's also tailored to where you are in the store. So there is a geolocation. It shows you relevant things next to the shelf you're currently at. And it also gives you added value applications or widgets to allow you to better manage your shopping journey. So it can give you the optimal route to find your list of shopping items. It can summarize how much it costs before you go to the cash register, so you know exactly what is the cost that you are incurring. You can scan items to get more information on them, and also specific targeted commercials, or just nutritional information or any information on items that you want. So it becomes a better, I would say, a companion rather than a retail media per se. And when it becomes a real companion, you don't think about it as a retail media. Your brain doesn't block immediately and resist and everything it shows just because somebody's trying to put something in your head. It becomes like your friend. And that's kind of the innovation that those companies are trying to do.
I think it's definitely in the future, and I'm obviously also involved in a retail media tech company. So I really believe that this is one of the highest potential areas in retail today. The challenge is that to be successful in the advertising space, you need scale. And right now, most of the retailers still have very, very small advertising businesses. So Amazon is making $50 billion a year. This year, I think for the first time, the ad revenue surpassed the AWS revenue. So it's huge. But Walmart, which is second place, is only 4 billion. And all the other retailers, I mean, there are another, 20 retailers worldwide that are making more than 1 billion. And all the other ones are making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is nothing. If you look at the CPG company like PepsiCo or P&G or all the big companies that are spending billions of dollars on advertising, if they are advertising in a small retailer and only spending, $20,000, they don't care about the $20,000. They don't even measure it. It's like, okay, we'll give you 20,000, and then there's no future. I think at the end of the day, the retailers will need to consolidate, to collaborate and to work with one another to build bigger retail media businesses together, and then to offer the brands a much more much bigger and much higher scale for their campaigns. But this is just my opinion on this. But obviously, I'm a very big believer in retail media, for sure.
Or you you introduce a middleman, like an agency in the old world, performance marketing. You had a lot of agencies who selected the audience and the right channel. Maybe that could be a solution for the agencies.
There already are. There's already middlemen both from the demand side and supply side. So companies like Criteo and the other ones are the ones helping the retailers. Currently, they're only helping them with the technology, but eventually they can also do the sales themselves. And then on the supply side, Sky, for example, it happens to be another Israeli-oriented company, and some other companies that are helping the brands with serving their ads to multiple retailers at the same time. So I think it's already starting to consolidate, but still every retailer is now trying to make their own play and build their own network. It has to become a big network so that the brands will be able to see value from it.
Cool. So retail media, got it. Anything else, Joel, from a tech perspective that is shaking up retail?
I think that's the main trend I see at the moment.
So I'm surprised you're not saying AI, because that's what I would have expected.
AI is not a trend. I mean, AI is an infrastructure, just like the internet, just like TCP/IP. It's not something on its own. To say AI is like to say any other big name like big data or edge or edge computing or sensors or anything. So it doesn't mean anything unless you apply to something. And what I just described in retail media works only because of AI. But obviously, they use it as a component. It's not a solution on itself.
So the technology is the enabler and not the trend.
Exactly. And the AI is, like all the other names I just mentioned, like big data, etc. It applies to anything in our lives. It's not just retail. It's, everything is AI. Right?
Sure. I mean, machine learning, predictive AI, that's out there for quite some time, and all the big hyperscalers built their thing. I think why I'm saying AI is because of the LLMs, which is new, relatively new, and a big trend at the moment. But probably, yeah, like you said, this is a more.
But again, how to utilize LLM, how to make it effective in retail, and the way you can do it, it's through the intersection points, the interaction points between the consumer and the retailer/manufacturer, and retail media is one of those intersections. Probably e-commerce is another. Every place where you will have such cross-section of them together, LLM will play a big part in transforming what we used to see into something completely different.
So Joel, you actually built one of the biggest retail tech companies together with your partners. Can you take us back to the beginning, to the early days of Trax? What made you start the company? What made you even go into, I mean, we just said you were learning physics, you were working in big corporate America. Why do this to yourself and go into retail?
So first of all, I have not selected retail. I selected my partner, Dror, with whom I established Trax, and he came from the retail space. He came with the idea. And I met him and he said, I have a great idea coming from retail. We can disrupt this space by understanding what is happening on the shelf. He learned about it from firsthand. He used to work 10 years for a private equity, which invested in brands. And knowing what is happening on the shelf was one of his biggest challenges. So he came with his own scars to this problem. I came more from the technology perspective. I had some background in computer vision, and I thought computer vision can help in solve that problem. So this is how it came about. I saw an interesting technical problem that is fun to work on, and I think can solve the problem Dror described. Dror, brought a real business pain. I believed him, but didn't come from that space, and this is how we came together and made it a success. So that is how it happened.
And Joel, maybe can you quickly explain what Trax does, because we can't assume everybody on our show knows the retail technology space that well and knows Trax.
Yeah, sure. So Trax is using computer vision to take images of shelf space. We do it through a mobile phone, and the people who take the images are the employees of our clients, the employees of the likes of Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, etc. When they go to stores that take images, we recognize the SKUs, the products on the shelf in real time, provide insights, analytics, and information about what is happening in every single store, and then obviously accumulate all that data and create a view over a region, a city, a country, and can give them different slices and dices of the information so they can better control and manage the stores in which they execute.
So it's basically a store check, creating the perfect store, like analyzing shelf space.
It started from there, from a perfect store program analysis. It expanded obviously from there to other areas, but it's all around store execution.
Store execution, retail execution. Got it. Okay. So, and that's why you said machine learning, because obviously you need to train the algorithm that it recognizes the Coke bottle as opposed to the competitor Pepsi.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. And as we said in the introduction, or you said it, I think now you moved on to Xpand, left your company that you founded or co-founded yourself.
I was the 12 years the CEO of Trax, and today I'm the chairman of Trax. So today I'm still the chairman of the board.
Okay, you're still the chairman, but now your new role is you're CEO of Xpand. What is Xpand doing? Because it sounded very interesting when I read through it. I've never seen it. It's part of M1 or 1M Robotics, I think.
It used
it used to be called 1M Robotics. When I came to role as a CEO, the first order of the day, changed the name. I didn't like the name. It's a nice name, but it didn't mean anything, 1M Robotics. So I changed it to Xpand because we allow retailers to expand their footprint and get closer to their end clients in different locations. Xpand is creating a fully autonomous robotic store. So think about it like a giant system which holds 30,000 items, about 2,000 SKUs. Every dimension of products, from fresh to bread to vegetables, fruits, frozen, cold, ambient, everything, just like a convenience store. You have the screen storefront is digital panels. So going back to your question from before, Yael, that's the first step. You see all digitally in front of you. You don't shop in a physical aisle like you used to, but you are browsing through a digital display. You are selecting the items you want, just like you do in McDonald's and other venues where you are selecting from those panels. And within 2 minutes, you get a grocery bag with all your groceries already packed, ordered in the right order, in the right quantity, in the right place. And we have a robot that collects the item, can collect an item within 9 seconds and pack it.
Wow.
So it's pretty quick and opens huge opportunities for retailers, and also solves a lot of the issues that retailers have today. I would just name maybe 2 or 3. One, there is no headcount. There is no human involved in this process. So it's completely unmanned. So works 24/7. It also has a better management of product expiry dates, and the whole inventory management is completely automated. And I think the best thing for retailers, it also not allowing any theft, because the products are behind a wall, literally. There is a robot that is handling the product. No human has any direct interaction with those products, which allows them to increase or to expand their assortment. So think about today, if you go to a supermarket, you will not find expensive champagnes. You will not find expensive perfumes or cosmetics or other things which has a high value because they're afraid of theft. And with our store, they can really expand their reach into higher category products, which they normally not sell today. And again, increasing their revenues, increasing their profits.
I actually saw it in person. It's really, really cool. It's imagine like a giant box filled with robotic arms that are, well, not filled, but like I think there are 2 that are working together, and they're synchronized with one another, and they take the items, they pack it for you, and you just get it in a matter of seconds. It's incredible. But I think this format is not meant to replace the traditional retail, right? It's just meant to
It's
add
not.
an additional.
You are correct. It's not. It's really for specific use cases, mainly for convenience grocery. So it coming to locations which are very expensive in terms of real estate, like Fifth Avenue in New York. It's so expensive. Because of the way we handle the items, we are occupying 40% less space than a traditional store. Therefore, the rent and everything is much, much lower. It goes to food deserts, places where there is a scarce of employees because it's unmanned, etc. It goes to places where you need 24/7 operations, like universities and hospitals, which are small cities, and you want to have a store there that works around the clock. So for those specific use cases, so gas stations, etc., this is a real good fit. It costs about 80% less than opening a traditional store, so it's only 20% of the cost, and it gives you the same assortment and hopefully or probably better experience.
Where is it live? Where can we see it?
So it's currently, we are opening the first store in Israel in the summer, and then the first stores in Europe, in Athens and in Vienna, will be open in Q1 26. We are also planning to open 2 stores in the US in the same time.
Cool. So I will travel to Vienna and tell you what I think.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
It's always good to travel to those places anyway, so you just need a good excuse.
Exactly. And I think it's also in line because robotics, I've seen a lot of robotics companies now coming up, and especially paired with LLMs. I think you all know Figure 1, Figure 2, a robot paired up with some LLM technology.
Exactly. So for us in Xpand, you can select from the screen, but you can also talk to the screen. You can just tell him, I want the pasta Barilla or whatever, etc. It will give you. Or you can say, I just want the ingredients to make pasta tonight with the tomato sauce, and it'll give you all the ingredients, and the LLM model will find out the ingredients, the recipe, will give you everything you need, plus the recipe that you can go home with.
Cool. So let's make sure we put some links in the show notes so our listeners can see that amazing technology.
Yeah.
Great. That was very insightful. Thank you, Yoel. I think like every time at the end of our podcast, we ask our attendees one question. And the question is, given all the rapid changes, what's your one piece of advice you would give to a retail CEO trying to future-proof his or her business?
I will give two.
Even better.
I'm feeling. So the first one is to make sure you match your technology to the retailer reality. A lot of times people think retailers will change their way, will spend more, will believe. No, you need to make sure that your product is streamlined with the existing way of operation, the existing way of doing business of retailers today, because shifting retailer because of the scale, because of the cost, is just not feasible. And the second, I would say, ensure that the shopper will gain an outstanding experience from their product. And it doesn't matter if you are doing a shopper-related product, or you're doing supply chain, or anything, or cash register, or anything at all. At the end of the day, it affects the consumer. Make sure that it improves his experience in a big way. Those two advices, if you follow them, I believe you can be successful.
Cool. Yoel's path to success. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joel. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I agree.
And, nice to meet you, Nino, and great to see you again, Yoel. And
let's meet in Q1 in Vienna and do a live podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
In front of your autonomous store.
Yeah, let's do that. We can do it in Tel Aviv. Don't be afraid to come.
Yeah. If you invite us,
sooner.
I think we need a visa.
You're invited.
Just invite us. Cool. Thank you, Yoel. Have a great day and see you hopefully soon.
Same here. Thank you. Bye-bye.